Let's take a look at game number 3. I really just want to rush into this one because this is the David versus Goliath matchup. I mean, eUnited are supposed to win this. Let's not pretend, you know, there's no Hollywood here. eUnited are supposed to win this matchup, but Trifecta are just playing good Smite. And I think this season 5, whether it's the status of the league, whether it's the way the game is played right now, or just the division of the teams, you know, any given. Well, today's a Wednesday, but any given Sunday, these guys come out and play and find the victories. I would love to. I'm glad we're at a game 3. From this point, I don't really care who wins. I just want to see another good match.
I think that's one of the best parts about getting to do this all the time is that people don't understand. They try to ask, who's your favorite team? Like, who are some of your favorite players? And it's like, I like all of them as long as there's good Smite happening. And that's what both of these teams have managed to bring forward for us today. And I'm very happy to see NeiruMah finally being one of the gods banned away here. It does seem to be that whoever gets the NeiruMah is causing a lot of problems because that's going to be 2 Ws already for her.
Yeah, just in the first and second game. So with her off the table, eUnited, first selection on their side. Giannis also banned out. Thoth available. So are some of the junglers of choice. But it will be the Terra. This character was banned in game number 1 and 2, so we'll see that character. New Terra again, just to remind you guys, no more global ultimate, a more concentrated ultimate, but a stronger one.
And PBM, I think, just really values this Terra as well, and she can still provide a whole lot, and even probably a little bit more now that she has that root back. And I know that PolarBearMike is really excited to have that one, but pretty scary to see Trifecta getting to run this Ratatoskr back. A bit surprised that eUnited didn't try to strip it away, but they'd rather take their chances because even though the Red and Agni have been picked in and they're it could be debated whether or not this might be 2 of their players' best gods.
Yeah, that's where I was going, is that comfort is king in Season 5 here. There's a tier list, and certain gods are better than other gods, but I maintain, especially when you look at your individual skill, I would much rather have Metyankey come through on the Agni than a quote-unquote better character like the Thoth. I think it just fits what he's doing in Season 5 a little bit better. You put Mask on the Ratatoskr because I believe in you feed the hot hand. Thor and Ratatoskr are similar characters, right? You try out the Thor, you come through on the Rat, you're better on it. Game 3, just give it right back and repeat it.
Player preference aside as well, I actually prefer seeing the Agni over the Thoth here for Metyankey. Not even so much because I'm not a huge fan of Thoth for Met, but
sure.
I really like that they're continuing this AoE control.
Yeah.
And I think that god picks that can fit a clear team composition are always going to be valued way more over those supposed tier list top picks. And at a competitive level, tier lists tend to go straight out the window because these players want to draft based around what they think the strengths and weaknesses of their team can be, whether that be AoE control, single target pick, burst compositions. It's really fun stuff getting to see some of their drafts come to fruition. And I like the Ymir. It helps round things out. I
love the Ymir. I think the Ymir goes well against what eUnited has brought. It's also one of NeiruMah's characters. Trifecta banning out Screams, Basset, and the Batman. On the other side, eUnited paying attention to the Hunters. No Hachiman and no Amaterasu over there for Scary D. So Ymir right here is a flexible pick. It's one of NeiruMah's selections. Scary D also plays a strong Ymir over there in the solo lane. And really, I love what the Ice Giant does. He's so simple, but it's the simplicity that makes him scary.
And seems as though Jingwei is going to be headed for Zapman. And I really want to see PandaCat on Artemis.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been so far into Season 5, and I'm fairly confident that we have yet to see PandaCat play Artemis, which just baffles me because PandaCat is such an awesome Artemis. It's so much fun getting to watch him do his thing, but seems as though he's going to be taking the soul this time around, as Discordia will undoubtedly find its way into Venenu's hands, and that Sirket is all control for Scream.
Absolutely. I'm staring at Trifecta's draft, though. What's their 5th pick? Sobek? Oh, my goodness. Everybody on Trifecta has gotten what I would consider a comfort pick for them. Ratatoskr in the jungle for Mask, Agni in that middle lane, Jingwei for Zapman, and then Ymir and Sobek, both of these for either solo or support. Both of these, their players individually play these characters great. eUnited have a fine draft in and of themselves, Taco, but I think this is a tall task for eUnited based on game number 2. Trifecta have the draft that they asked for in blind pick.
I don't think that Trifecta could have gotten a more them draft than what they have right now. And for those of you at home, hopefully this game 3 doesn't disappoint, because if it ends up just being a completely one-sided victory for eUnited, I'm going to feel a little bit silly here. But Trifecta are looking good heading into game 3. I'd be a little concerned if I'm an eUnited fan right now.
Yeah, certainly so. Trifecta looks clean. We're game 3, and it's Finch, and it's aggro.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Taco. And Taco, I don't think you got to worry. I imagine we're going to be seeing a pretty good game here between these two teams, at least based on the way they've played so far. It has been back and forth.
It really has. I mean, we're going to game 3, so you already know that these two have been competitive with one another. But both games have been very back and forth. Trifecta has gotten off to a lead in both games. eUnited battled back in both games. It's just that in game 2, they let their lead kind of get the best of them and made some mistakes that let the Trifecta come back themselves.
Yeah, and you said Trifecta have gotten off some good starts. Mask in particular has gotten off some good starts for him. How well he's been able to keep those going have been important. We'll talk about that in a minute. I got to make sure that Mixer Chat's telling me, personally, John Finch, who they think is going to win in Mixer poll. Please vote so that I personally will know. I will check up on it.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to know too. Can you tell me whenever they tell you?
I'll tell you. Yeah, they'll tell me and I'll relate to you.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
I'll
probably tell Tom first and have Tom tell you. But
wait, why would you tell Tom? Tom's not with you right now. I'm with you.
I don't like to have you. It's important that there's connections. There's chains.
What? And how are you on top of Tom and me there in that chain?
Well, Tom is lateral. You're definitely beneath though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm being clear about that.
Oh, good. Good to know. Glad to found that out right here while I'm casting.
This is the time to find out.
Yes, exactly what I wanted to know.
NeiruMah, though, going to be playing the Amir to me. That's the only pick that might stand out as a little bit not what you always see, but you certainly are seeing it on NeiruMah, a god that he can play quite well. And a god that feels like it can either go to a good start or can struggle.
Exactly. Sometimes Ymir can feel very unexceptional. At other times, it can be really, really good. And
this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
It can find the right. I don't know what you're talking about. I love the picks and bans from Trifecta after the Ymir lock-in. They banned away a couple gods that Scream plays very well, but that can get over that Ymir wall very easily. And Serket still can, yes, but sometimes she'll be using that ambush to initiate and then can't use the Deathbane to get away. You can wall off that ambush even on the backside, or maybe even freeze her whenever she goes in that momentary stealth. So I think there's better counterplay around this Serket pick than, say, the Camazotz or the Bastet, which were Trifecta's two bans to keep Scream off of those picks. And it allows Mass to continue to play aggressive in this matchup potentially. So I really liked Trifecta's draft phase.
Again, we got to see how well they put into action, but take a look at these votes.
I saw it first. I saw it first, by the way. You don't have to tell anyone. I got there.
eUnited only just barely edging out Trifecta here, chat. You know, I'm going to tell you what, I like this. I like that chat are recognizing how close this set is, and they're recognizing that eUnited aren't as untouchable as they might have once been, and the Trifecta squad's better than we thought they might be. I mean, I think that chat's right to call it that close.
And Trifecta has played very, very well, but at the same time, in my mind, if you just take the mistakes away from eUnited, they're probably going home with a 2-0 victory here today. I'm talking about Venenu dashing under the Phoenix. I'm talking about Scream's dive on the left-hand side when he knows that everyone else is in the jungle and just kind of gets him and his team killed in that situation. eUnited, when they're playing at their peak, I still think are a better team than Trifecta, but they aren't playing at their peak right now, and Trifecta's looked great on their own right. Again, it's not to take anything away from Trifecta. I think this is a really, really solid roster, but eUnited playing a little bit worse than I would have expected.
Yeah, I don't think it's taking anything away from them to say it at all. I mean, eUnited were better than everyone last year. The world champs is what that means. And this year, they have not quite at that level. And I think that you certainly can allow them some time to get back to that point. But right now, Trifecta are playing as well as them and putting it on display here in this set. They got to get it done one more time if they want to claim this win. However, and if eUnited want to do it, they're going to do it through this buckler, an enchanted buckler picked up by Mask, a small shield, a fact I knew before today.
There it is, the enchanted buckler. This will probably build into that Anchile yet again. Give him that early CDR and protection against PandaCat. Should he come over there as Neil actually misses the freeze.
Of course he does.
Off that dash.
Because it's an Amir. Stun lands on him as well. Sprint coming out. Just barely going to be able to make it out of there. Actually forced to jump over is Zapman.
Wow. PandaCat actually beats there to try and make sure he didn't get slowed down, but it still wasn't enough to find the kill. Again, PBM has not gone for upgraded sprint once so far in this set. Instead, has been going for the early boots option. So a little bit surprised by that. And gotta wonder if that would have been enough to potentially find a kill there for eUnited. Probably not, because of the good body blocks from Zapman, but still think that's something that's worth thinking about as that upgraded sprint is now Zapman use the beads because that early Terra pressure that PBM has. And as much as I like this Ymir pick for Neil into what eUnited had drafted already with the Achilles and with the Terra into Ymir is also very, very scary because Ymir, when he falls behind, is already so susceptible, and Terra really punishes immobile gods better than almost anybody.
Scream is lurking here in the jungle as eUnited clear their minion wave in the jungle and followed them over here. Looks like they want to try and take this purple. They can get Trifecta to overcommit. They will not, though, and they'll be able to take this one away, no problem. Did want to put out, though, it looks like Venenu was under a little bit of pressure in mid lane. His beads were taken as well, a little bit ahead of PandaCat, it would seem. So those also going to be down for a little bit more than a minute.
That's the pressure that Agni provides these days in the mid lane, where it used to be Agni, not very good, pre-level 5, really needs those meteors to be effective in poking or clearing even. Not really the case anymore because of Mage's Blessing. The way it interacts with that combustion passive really helps him.
Lurking in the waters has been used, as well as the ultimate from Benji. Those are just going to be traded out.
And what I mean by how it interacts is that the combustion passive actually also gets that 30 extra damage from the passive of the Mage's Blessing. So he double procs it whenever he uses his Flame Wave, and which is why Agnis are clearing so much earlier than they used to.
Agni, quite strong right now. You're saying Agni. Should I be saying Agni or Agni? Does it matter?
I think it's one of those, like, there are correct pronunciations. Like, pronunciation and pronunciation are both right.
No.
It is.
I mean, like, I understand that you have looked it up and that you know the truth, but I'm telling you I don't care about the truth.
Oh, okay. Well, that's been very clear to me over my time working with you, is that the truth doesn't seem particularly relevant to you in any of your arguments. So that's glad that everyone can be on the same page there.
Benji in a little bit of trouble, gets plucked back in. Dash comes out to reposition for Mask as well. First blood is on the table, but they're not going to be able to grab it. Benji is able to make it just barely back out and survive.
And Scream is lurking here. Could be looking for Mask on the rotation out, but Mask goes high. That sucks, man, for Trifecta. I'm not even going to go with the typical, that's really unfortunate. That just sucks because Scary found the pluck on the Benji, and Mask actually dashed underneath the pluck. So it didn't deal the damage, it didn't slow Benji down, it didn't guarantee an extra auto attack, and Benji survives because of that. Bummer for Trifecta.
It is a bummer.
I know, that's why I said it.
You also said I don't care about the truth earlier.
You said that, Finch.
Well, yeah,
what
in
is
the word pronunciation only.
All right, how do you say Crayola? What is a Crayola?
A crayon.
You could also say crayon and be correct. They're correct pronunciations, both of them. They're also both correct pronunciations.
You gotta stop.
You can't handle the truth, Finch.
I can't. Not if this is the truth. I don't want it. Send it back.
Clearly not.
Scream grabs the red buff not for himself, but for his team, rather. Metyankey and Mask grouping up together for those mid harpies as well. Oracle's going to go the way of eUnited. A little bit of farm going their way as they have a little bit of vision there in the jungle too if they need it. Scream is here. They want to try and look for this dual lane, but NeiruMah and Zapman are both at tower line. Not going to really be anything realistic for him. Instead, he'll back off.
Zap's finished off his Devourer's Gauntlets and can get to wave pretty quickly because of that rapid reincarnation passive. Yeah, indeed he did spot out Scream on his back camps, pings it out, and makes sure that everyone knows not to waste their time heading over there to try and find some farm because it's all gone as Scream takes half his health from 2 Agni Bombs. This is a really strong part of the game for Metyankey because he can rely on the base damage from his bombs and still be used. That Mage's Blessing damage is actually still relevant at this point in the game. This is where Agni starts to feel really, really good.
That was, I think, all his bombs. The first one got the stun, and the other 2 got the damage. So for a moment, he won't have those available. We did see, though, the effect, letting us know that Mage's Blessing is complete. So Metyankey, as you mentioned, is going to be doing just fine right about now. Have a little bit of cooldown for that Mage's Blessing as well. So it shouldn't be too long before those are back up.
Both hunters, well, both carries in the duo lane have already finished off their stacking items, but first blood happens in the solo lane. It was Benji who was getting pressured out earlier on, but it's Scary who ends up taking the ultimate fall. And a combination of last breath and an execute from Achilles is pretty difficult to deal with, even for a Sobek.
Yeah, that'll get it done most of the time, and it gets it done there. Scary D does end up falling, and Benji now 1-0-0. I mean, there's been a lot of discussion about Achilles, and I think rightfully so, but one person who seems to do well with it just about every game is Benji so far, as Golden Apple of Discord is not going to affect Metyankey here. He'll be just fine. But yeah, man, Achilles he's looked good as long as Benji's been playing him.
He really has. He's looked really, really good. And even in the last game where Benji kind of doesn't win the laning phase per se, doesn't play very aggressive in that lane, was kind of waiting it out until the mid to late stages, Benji still was able to make a pretty big impact in the mid and late team fights. So I really feel like he is one of the best performers on Achilles we've seen so far. And where I was really on the Achilles is a better jungler train, it feels like it might be a better solo these days.
Certainly looking that way as Metyankey is able to find Scream in the mid lane. Venenu jumps out of there, not going to be in too much trouble. So you talked about how strong this Agni is right around this part of the game, and clearly it's true. Cat takes a spill.
No beads for Scream, and the trap was laid by Trifecta on that bottom left. Nice job. Now Mask heading over to this right-hand side. Benji has the ultimate available, and Mask can't body block it, so 2 ults in exchange for 1 for Benji. But PBM's got to be careful on the left.
Yeah, whole rest of Trifecta's looking to collapse here. He's able to make it with the dash out, and the wall actually keeps Metyankey from making it out. If there's anyone in the world that thinks Amir's the best god in the world, they're wrong. You saw all the evidence just now.
NeiruMah, just that's the equivalent of holding your boy back, you know, in a bar fight.
Don't go too far in.
It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. You don't want to go there, trust me. And while no one else was around, and obviously that was Neil trying to block off PolarBearMike's escape, actually not a bad thing that Met gets his jets cooled a little bit there.
That could have been potential trouble there for PolarBearMike, but making it out was so big for him. Able to get the initial dash for the root, and then able to dash right on out of there again with that second dash. So PolarBearMike, instead of getting collapsed on, able to make it out of there and free to farm up yet again on this Terra pick. Again, Terra has been changed a little bit here now, has the root back, has that Earth and Fury, I believe, instead of the Terra's Blessing anymore now. So that's what she's rocking in that close range, and we're going to see PolarBearMike make good use of it. Yeah, Earth and Fury. Thank you.
That's crazy. I actually didn't realize that it got a name change.
Yeah.
Alongside it. Would you look at that? Well, you certainly feel the Earth and Fury whenever you're around her these days, man. That does some serious damage on that ultimate. Also, the big thing for me is the 20% swing. Your teammates take 10% less damage. Enemies take 10% more damage if they're affected by that Earth and Fury. So that's a 20% swing in total, which is incredible in the middle of a team fight.
Scream was lurking around the wall, looking for potentially Mask or Metyankey. Could find neither. Neither. Another one of those words, I suppose.
So earlier, when Mask started the Enchanted Buckle, he went for the Anchile, but this time he goes for the Runic Shield.
Yeah, he does.
And I wonder why, because the CDR is still kind of relevant on the Ratatosker, but probably not as much as, say, a Thor who wants to be using his escape more effectively. I don't know if it's just that he doesn't feel as threatened by Discordia in the early game and now wants to try and like be super tanky in the earlier stages. So instead goes for the Runic Shield, which gives him the health, the magic protection, and a little bit of power, plus that passive. So interesting switch up from Mask. Be interested to hear his thoughts on exactly why.
Wants him to go with the Runic Shield this time, but earlier on we saw it looked like it was going to be Benji was the one that was in trouble, but instead it ended up being Scary. D got a little bit of help from Scream, where they were able to lock down that Crocodile for that kill at the beginning of the game. Did help out in that solo lane already. Benji, level 11 now, has that 1-0-0 start there.
In last game, Benji went for that early Pestilence, early magical protection whenever in the first part, but this time around he went for the early Stone of Gaia to give himself that extra bit of HP and survivability against the ganks from Mask, as well as there's the toss around from Sobek. So now he's got plenty of HP, and despite having a little bit less protection than before, still healthy.
Blink comes out from Scream. Freeze comes in response from NeiruMah. Mask already gone. Damage from Venenu is just way too much. Now NeiruMah is able to find the wall, but the jump from Scream is that bit better. Venenu gets the double kill and is able to find both Mask and NeiruMah, jungler and the support.
Beautiful engagement there from Scream, who again is pretty far behind right now from Mask. It was down 2 levels at the time of that engagement, but still found a beautiful initiation onto Mask. Good ultimate as well from Venenu. Just solid team play there from eUnited. Nets them a clean double.
Oracles as well goes the way of eUnited. All that's culminating in about a 1,400 gold lead about 12.5 minutes in. They sit up 3-1 in the kills as well, so the kills have been going their way, and the farm experience is right around that same mark. And really, we see it's a bit of a sharp upswing off that last fight or so, this last minute or so, I would say. So really, it's been relatively even and still is, but only just now going in eUnited's favor a bit.
And Scream going for a pretty defensive build. Instead of finishing off that mace that he started with, went straight for that winged blade after boots and is now turning back and working on that mace, which will probably become either a Jotun's Wrath or a Crusher. Can't imagine it'd be any of the other options this early on in the game. And that's just a threat of the Ymir slow, the slow from Ratatosker, and that lurking in the water slow from Scary D. Plus, Scream just wants to get around the map a little bit faster, try and farm up as quickly as possible because he was already falling pretty far behind Mask in the early game, so gives a little bit more maneuverability to get around and stay in the spots that he needs to be in.
Take a look at Venenu, though. Not just the highest level in the game right now, Ryan. Top of the net worth charts, too. He's been doing a good job for himself in the mid lane. I'm sure that double kill did not hurt his case at all, so I'd help him push him up a little bit further. But Scary right now is this Discordia. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier.
No, Scary Sobek.
Scary right now is this Discordia's lead that she has for herself. Metyankey drops down those 2 bombs, can't find anything for it. I'm ignoring your ridiculous Scary D joke, by the way.
It wasn't a joke. I'm just trying to make sure you're on the, like, you understand what's going on here, Finch. Come on, man. Just pay attention.
Well, you know what? I'm going to take it as a compliment that you're looking out for me, Ryan. Thank you.
Yeah, of course I am.
That means we're close.
Sure the broadcast.
And now everyone knows we're close.
Sure, buddy.
No way for you to back out of this one, Ryan. You are all in on it.
Locked. You got me there.
Scream. Rather aggressive right now. NeiruMah's here along with Zapman, but they want this purple buff. That's where their eyes are focused. PandaCat's here too. They got all 4 members. Wall does for a moment lock in PolarBearMike, but he turns this one around. They find the root. NeiruMah just goes with the shard device, but PandaCat blows him up. Mask is forced to retreat. He came in through the Cosmos, but it just didn't do enough.
Man, that was close there from Bask. Actually landed straight into the apple from Venenu, but it didn't end up mattering. They couldn't save NeiruMah's life and had to use the beads, but he got away because of it. But there's the vulnerability of Ymir that I was talking about earlier. Terra punishes that so well. I just don't know that I love the Ymir pick into Terra in particular. Terra is the one god that, you know, whatever you see in a mobile god, I feel like Terra, when she has a root on her monolith, which she does now, of course, it just punishes so well. The chain CC potential is amazing. You are mobile as Terra. You can get in and out of those freezes pretty well. And now with the new ultimate giving you more safety in those situations, it's just a really tough pick to play against for NeiruMah.
Well, my best friend Ryan, you've never been more right than you were just now. I mean, it's tough trying to deal with this Terra that PolarBearMike has. They get the Oracles for themselves. Maybe a bit of an opportunity if they wanted to look at Gold Fury, but they choose not to instead. They still have a decent lead for themselves after able to find that pick on the NeiruMah. And that was a big rotation over. They had Scream, Venenu. Everyone was there to try and make that purple buff steal happen. Neil comes maybe a step too far into his eown jungle, ends up falling, and eUnited punish. The lockdown that they have right now is pretty scary.
It really is, and Neil is falling very, very far behind. Not in levels or in XP or in gold even, but the Gauntlet of Thebes stacks. Neil just finished his has 6 stacks on it. PolarBearMike just finished his with all the stacks on it. He bought it a long time ago and is now able to finish it off and is now able to back to base, be level 12, get his second relic, and start to put some more wards down. Getting a Phantom, actually, to make sure that Ymir Wall isn't as impactful as it may look for Trifecta right off the bat. I actually love this pickup for PolarBearMike. Phantom is kind of thought of as only buy when Odin is around. There's like a little piece of glass around it, like break in case of Odin. But it does end up being more impactful than a lot of people think in situations like this. I think this is a great pickup.
They know where Scary D is, though. We saw the pings come out. The pluck ends up hitting Benji, but I don't know if that was the point. He might have been willing to try and reposition instead. Lurking in the waters for the slow and for the CC immunity. Actually just uses the ultimate there for the damage. Does Benji. Scary D now has a chance to make it back towards the rest of his team. Agni Bombs come in, and they blow Scream up. Mask is the one that gets credit. Golden Apple of Discord was chasing him down, but does not land. Now Benji is on the aggressive again. Stun hits Mask and brings him down to half health. But has Agni yet again here. Metyankey lands the stun, finds a little more damage. Now Mask now putting in more of his own. Thorns is ticking, and they can't keep chasing.
Man, Scream just a little bit too early on that last breath. If he's able to direct Scary back towards Benji, Benji also a little bit early. I feel like using that in that situation to try and find the execute probably would have worked out a little bit better, or to try and keep the chase going. Instead, both those abilities used when Scary was still CC immune, before he was able to use that pluck away. Just a little bit mistimed there in my mind from eUnited.
Scary will survive. Benji forced to teleport back to the tower to keep it still standing, and it is going to be just fine. Scary already had to use his teleport earlier, so Benji's no problem doing that. Scary again, looking for the invade on those Harpies, man. Last time did not deter him at all, and he is right back there to pick them up as soon as they respawn. Now they have a chance to actually try and collapse onto Benji, because Mask is here, but looks like they don't want to take him.
Benji finished off that late Glad Shield. Probably feels like eUnited is getting close to a really important team fight around this left-hand side, and that's just making sure he finishes off an item that he really wants in order to be in the right spot in order to fight. And no surprise, immediately eUnited going towards the Gold Fury.
They've got it pulled, taking about a quarter of its HP down already. Metyankey has those bombs available, but uses a bunch of them just for poke damage on the PolarBearMike. They're going to sustain that right back up and then go right back to pulling. Trifecta instead have 3 members committing to Benji here in the mid lane, while the Gold Fury is being sieged by the rest of eUnited. Over there is Zapman to try and help defend, but eUnited's going to keep committing to it. Now NeiruMah is finally here, has the shard device available if he wants to use for it, but Mask lands on the backside. That's not to force them away. Now they're instead looking for him. Golden Apple of Discord hits nobody, and he dashes right back towards Benji. Freeze does land on PolarBearMike, and they fall back.
Benji just needs a little bit more help to find that execute. Actually has it up, but Neil still safe for the moment. PBM in a little bit of trouble, down to about half HP, but he's going to turn back towards his team as well. Guess maybe Neil had his wall up, and Benji knew that he was trying to bait him in that situation. I didn't have NeiruMah's wall cooldown in my head right there. Benji must have thought that that's what was coming up. Otherwise, that's just got to be an execute for Benji every time.
Gold Fury being pulled yet again. PolarBearMike looking for the walls, looking for the clap, can't find it. Comes back to the Gold Fury. It's Benji on zoning duty. He's got Scary D pushed away, but Zapman and Metyankey have a clear path in if they want to take it. Instead, they look for the commit on the Benji. They drop the bombs there, and Gold Fury's getting lower and lower. eUnited take it without any real fight from Trifecta. Benji now continuing to go on zone duty. Scary D gets stunned out. No more control trying to follow it up. Instead, the freeze lands on the Benji on the right-hand side. Mask blinks in to follow it up the wall to cut him off, but a 2-man stun and then able to dash away.
Great patience from Benji, man. So many players in that situation see their opportunity to get out, use the ultimate, and just dash away. But instead, Benji just waits, knows that he can play patient, wait for NeiruMah to use his ultimate and the wall, and then use it to get away. Love that patience and love the zone from him as well. Trifecta just felt a little bit waffly there. Couldn't quite decide if they wanted to go in and defend that Gold Fury, it felt like. I mean, everyone was kind of low. Zap had already used the ultimate defensively. Met wasn't positioning particularly aggressively. I feel like if Trifecta's giving that up, I would have liked to see them just give it up and go start to farm elsewhere to get something in their favor, instead of just standing around and watching eUnited finish it off. Or just commit. Just try and go in and force eUnited off the Gold Fury itself and buy time for Neil to return alongside Mask to affect the fight.
We're approaching 21 minutes in, and it doesn't really even feel like it yet. I mean, this game, even though there's only been 6 kills so far, it's kind of felt like eUnited and Trifecta have both been trying to force things all game long, and we saw it with the charts just now. The net result is that no one really has a significant lead in either direction. A little bit of an XP lead for Trifecta, a little bit of a gold lead for eUnited. We don't see that a lot, but these two teams, man, it's so close between them, 1-1 so far in the series, and either one could take it.
Feels like that entire XP lead is in the jungle right now for Mask.
Sure.
Who's really far ahead of Scream still. 3 levels now. XP per minute, up about 150 XP per minute over his counterpart in the jungle. And a lot of that is because Mask takes a lot more mid-waves than Scream does, but it's also just that he's been farming very, very efficiently so far. And it's paid off for him. He's done very, very well in these team fights, but now is where he's going to start to have to make a really big impact, because Ratatosker does not have the best late game in the world, and this is where he still can be very, very effective while not worrying about being blown up that quickly.
Some poke goes onto Benji. Mask goes up into the air as the Pyromancer has been started. Metyankey's low. Scream goes in for the last breath, but it's on NeiruMah. Supernova comes out in response, and Mask lands right down into the apple and gets punished. He's forced to retreat. NeiruMah is also incredibly low as the Earth and Furies come out from PolarBearMike, and it sets up NeiruMah to be the first casualty. Benji gets that hit and takes him down. Forced to dash away is Scary D. eUnited in the form of Benji are here to try and force him back, and they look again towards this Pyromancer.
Zap's pretty healthy and has his ultimate. Scary trying to set him up. Plucks Benji back in, and Benji going on a trampoline ride. Blink in from Mask as well. Benji zoning a little bit too far from the rest of his squad. Mask makes him pay alongside Scary and Zapman, but eUnited get the Pyromancer regardless, so not the end of the world for the defending champs.
Yeah, Trifecta just get a little bit back in the form of taking down Benji. Now they get to keep looking, though, for this Tier 1 tower. This is going to help make that Pyromancer even out a little bit more, at least in terms of the overall value. And look at that. The experience league continues to dip down. The gold stays up in eUnited's favor. We don't get to see it that often, but I think it's because Mask has been doing such a good job, as you pointed out, not just in this game, but all 3 games of getting ahead of Scream.
He's gotten ahead of him every game so far, and that's something that Mask has done very well so far here in Season 5. His early game pressure has been almost second to none in the jungle, and we've talked so much about Scary D and how he's been a big part of Trifecta's success and how NeiruMah is a real backbone for this team, and I think Mask is really flying under the radar and deserves a lot more credit than what he's being given right now for having a really, really good spring split.
NeiruMah has been kind of the one that's been getting a little bit punished on this Trifecta squad. Already has 3 deaths, has the Spirit Robe for himself, so that when he takes some of that crowd control, he does get a little bit tankier as a result. He's going to need all the help he can get. This Amir has been, it feels like, the focal point for United.
Scream trying to be a little cheeky there, but Scary knew what was going on. Fire Giant pulled for the moment, but Scary and Mask being local enough to scare United off of it.
They turn their attention back towards it after they force Scary D away. Benji yet again is the one on zone duty. He's trying to keep NeiruMah and Metyankey away from the action, but Mask is here, as is Scary D. They can certainly come in any time. They got to keep going for this, because at this point, PolarBearMike's just kind of taking damage while they hover in between, not deciding where they want to go just yet. They do back off. Now it's PandaCat taking a few shots. He takes a little bit of damage, doesn't need to as well. eUnited going to come back and try and heal this up off the monolith.
Felt like United was trying to force that because they knew Mask's beads and blink were down. But now that they're about to be back up, United decided they waited a little bit too long. They were trying to bait Mask to use the ultimate aggressively and try and CC chain him after that, or maybe let Scream be the blink initiator on that Ratatosker. That really felt like a relic bait situation from eUnited. No reason to be going for a Fire Giant that early on otherwise.
Trifecta played it very patiently, too, not being baited into that fight, so they felt like they were comfortable with it. Gold Fury now being looked at by PandaCat and PolarBearMike. Zapman is here to defend. Venenu is lurking as well. So Zapman cannot come too far forward lest he take too much damage. Now Neil is here to try and help out as well, as the commit seems to come on from eUnited.
PandaCat utilizing that Monolith sustain will pop the Radiance as well to try and keep himself nice and healthy. Mask pretty far away, but does have that ultimate.
Last breath comes in. It's NeiruMah the target one more time. Supernova comes in as well, but he does not fall from it just yet. It's Scream who ends up dying as Mask drops in on the backside. Now PandaCat's low, and Scary D is the one that finds that bit of damage to end up taking care of the last hit. Venenu is in a lot of trouble, forced to use Aegis. Scary D and Metyankey are both right here to catch him as soon as that's up. Metyankey finds that last hit. 3 members down for eUnited. This fight has gone horribly for the defending world champs. Benji now stands around 4 and must be careful.
Matt has the Aegis still, so might be able to bait out Benji with that execute, but Scary will take him away. What a team fight from Metyankey, man. He loops around the backside and follows up perfectly off of Mask's ultimate. Great communication between those two, and that's something that Trifecta fans have really been waiting for, is these new members starting to work together better as tandems and as a unit. And that's exactly what we saw there from Trifecta. Triple bomb, straight onto Scream. My dude never even hit the ground. He beads in midair and was dead before he hit there.
Fire Giant now is being sieged by Trifecta, and Benji's here to try and help out, but yet again, Metyankey finding the bombs from distance. Looks like could be dashing in, looking for a little bit more damage. Fire Giant procced a little bit of damage onto him, but PolarBearMike is in a lot of trouble. Mask is here.
Great wall.
Is enough to try and create some space. The Phantom, though, lets them keep right on walking. Pluck comes out from Scary D, not making it back to the tower just yet, but Scream comes on the backside, finds Metyankey, and now the collapse is on. Zapman airstrike is all it takes. Last breath doesn't quite enough, so he does live, but Benji's able to find Scary D.
Man, big turnaround there from Scream. Really thought that he was going to die in the midst of everybody there, but makes a nice play, finds Metyankey, who still had the Aegis available, but wasn't enough to save him. Nearly found Zapman as well, but PBM and Benji do such a good job of making sure that Trifecta don't get a free Fire Giant, even after going 3 for 0 in their favor. And remember, Trifecta didn't get Gold Fury after that, so Trifecta work very, very hard and don't really have a lot to show for it. Instead of getting the guaranteed objective, roll the dice a little bit and they get punished.
Fire Giant now being looked at by eUnited. 27.5 minutes in, this game is all but even between these two teams and has been a back and forth. Half health now. Mask is here, NeiruMah here as well as Trifecta commit to taking the Gold Fury. Earth and Fury comes out as well from PolarBearMike to try and make this defense even easier, but Mask is patiently waiting over the wall through the Cosmos now has been used. He's going to wait to try and find the target he wants to land. He wants Venenu. Goes from the backside, jumps to avoid it. Fire Giant still has not been completed yet by eUnited, and NeiruMah are still here. Now the Supernova comes out to try and take it, but Zapman finds Venenu. Trifecta take the Fire Giant as well. Pluck comes out and pulls PandaCat right back into the shards of ice. Not going to be enough to find the kill, but the Fire Giant goes Trifecta's way.
Trifecta just steal it away. Metyankey finishes off PandaCat, who was just trying to buy some time. I believe that was NeiruMah with the Glacial Strike that took that away from eUnited.
Can't happen.
That commit feels really, really weird to me here, Finch, because there's not a lot of great secure for eUnited. Trifecta get the free Gold Fury, and that's what tips PolarBearMike off that we got to get this now as soon as possible. He pops the Earth and Fury just to make sure that everyone from eUnited stays safe, but Venenu still pulls off the objective instead of just sticking on it. The call there is that stay grouped, we can peel for you, we just got to get this objective, but Ven kind of backs it up there, separates himself, slows the DPS. That means that Trifecta can get into a good position and seal it away, but even despite all that, even if Venenu stays there and tries to secure FG, I just don't know if I'm in love with that call. I feel like if you really feel like you got to make something happen for losing Gold Fury for free in that situation, you just got to try and bait Trifecta into a fight. They probably won't let it happen, and that's why that Gold Fury call is so potent and so well executed. But man, eUnited really rolled the dice and it just doesn't come up their way.
Yeah, it really felt like eUnited was kind of in between calls there and couldn't decide exactly if they wanted to hard commit, if they wanted to wait, and they held it for long enough that Trifecta kind of just were able to walk up and take it. Now with the Phoenix down on the right-hand side, all the structures before it obviously have fallen as well. They have a chance to come further, push their lead out with these two remaining Tier 2 towers in mid and duo. Phoenix, that's left standing as well. But what tremendous patience from Trifecta that we've seen from them so far. I mean, to be able to stick around that Fire Giant, take away the Gold Fury, have that presence of mind as well, then to be able to come over, win the fight, and take the objective.
It's been really, really impressive stuff from Trifecta so far. And eUnited this game, I mean, they were the ones who got off to a pretty decent start. It wasn't like the last two games where Trifecta was really controlling it from the get-go and then eUnited battled back. I mean, Trifecta had a good early game, but it was eUnited who got the first blood. It was eUnited who was kind of in control through the early portion. Not by a lot, but by a little tiny bit. It just felt like they were the ones with the momentum. And Trifecta still able to stick with it and find the kills.
Tier 2 tower and mid comes down. Nice strike comes out from Venenu as well. I did want to point out, because I saw Mask had the spiked gauntlet for a minute there too. He turned into the Blood Forge, which I imagine is just for the passive here, Ryan, I imagine.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a lot of power and then the passive. And he's not really worried about the lifesteal, though it doesn't hurt. I mean, you can go into the jungle and lifesteal a bit off some camps. Not something that Mask will be angry about, but it really is just about that big boost of power and the passive.
So once he gets that kill, it gives him a little bit extra survivability. Should be able to make it right on out of there, should Mask if he finds it. And this could be the chance, because they're defending on the Tier 2. Mask goes up, he comes right back down the back line, doesn't find anyone, but the pluck lands on the Benji. They pull him right back into the team. Supernova creates some space, but lurking in the waters. Scary D has to retreat, doesn't spread that golden apple of discord to anyone else. Trifecta cannot take this Tier 2. eUnited were able to defend, but that's all their ults. Zapman and NeiruMah still have theirs, and of course Metyankey's recharging those bombs.
And this is what's so hard against defending against a team with Fire Giant at this stage of the game on something like a Tier 2 or even a Phoenix, is that fight pretty much a wash. Both teams do about the same amount of damage to one another, get everyone low, all that good stuff. but then eUnited has to back because they're low. Trifecta doesn't have to back because even though they're low, they have that Fire Giant sustain that heals them back up very, very quickly. So that's why eUnited is forced to back up and concede that Tier 2 tower.
The Tier 2 tower in mid and duo have both fallen. Fire Giant's going to be falling off them any second now, so Trifecta will no longer have that available to them, but a lot of their work is done. They got the Phoenix on the right-hand side to go along with it. It looks like some minions may have made into the Titan room too, and done a little bit of damage to the Titan. Nothing too significant, but looks like some damage was done there. And once that Phoenix is back up, it shouldn't be too relevant, but that just goes to show the focus eUnited had to put into defending that Tier 2.
Still weren't able to save it, and as long as eUnited doesn't lose anyone there, it's not a big deal. Trifecta used a couple relics in that situation that maybe eUnited can take advantage of. In fact, Trifecta had to use a couple more defensive relics, specifically Zapman.
Yeah.
No beads or Aegis now for him. Scream's Blink is going to be up before either of those defensive options, so wouldn't mind seeing eUnited still try and contest this Fire Giant. It's going to be up in about 17 seconds here, and Scream is still all the way on the left, which tells me that Trifecta might be able to just get this for free.
Scream backing now, but he's going to be way back at base. So not close enough to this Fire Giant, which will be back among us here in just another second or two. It just came back. So Trifecta will have the chance to grab him. Looks like that's going to be the call. eUnited are going to let this one go and try and instead make the defense happen. Their Phoenix on right has come back. It'll be weakened now, but they can at least let it regain a little bit more HP before Trifecta begin the siege. But I don't think they're going to give it much time.
Interesting. I'm kind of surprised that eUnited don't contest there because of the fact that Zap's relics are down, and that I know that the Trifecta's composition does well in the narrow corridors of the jungle, but eUnited does as well. The thing that would usually swing it in Trifecta's favor is that Ymir wall, but PBM has the Phantom up. A little surprised that eUnited give that one up.
Another good strife as Scream tries to come join the rest of the team. Going in for the pluck here is Scary D. Not going to be able to pull anyone back in. Now the damage comes out in return. Golden Apple of Discord bounces but doesn't find anyone. Another big ultimate's down for Venenu. Mask is up into the air, looking for a target to try and land on, but Trifecta on full retreat. And Benji's going to keep chasing the wall. It's going to be enough to deter them for now. Trifecta cannot find that Phoenix. Instead, have to fall back.
Mantle of Discord popped off there from Scary D, who got focused down very, very nicely once he found the pluck onto Venenu. That's how you do it, man. You bait the pluck in, you turn around, you try and blow him up. But the problem is, even with Scary being that low, he had teleport available. Back to base, heal up, right back into the fray.
The whole rest of the team is regened as well, and they're ready to keep pushing back. And you pointed out, no relics going to be available from Venenu. Going to need to be particularly careful this time. And look where he is, far to the back, trying to make sure he's able to stand alive. Trifecta have the minion wave here, and they're ready to push. NeiruMah does find the wall, trying to isolate a target. They get the freeze off, and it's on the Benji. They pull him back in. He's deleted already. The first kill going the way of Trifecta. Zapman is the one that claims it. Phoenix on the right-hand side going to be theirs without any trouble. eUnited are forced to fall back and try to regroup as Trifecta move over to mid.
I love that Thorns there from Benji. He realizes he's totally in trouble, and he goes, hey, don't hit me, and then he just dies anyways immediately. Great target focus from Trifecta.
Phoenix in mid is already well below half as continuing to fight up against 5 as Scary D Phoenix falls. Trifecta have no trouble taking that structure for themselves as well. eUnited have to come back to the fountain yet again to heal, and all the while Zapman still has the airstrike. Mask is going to regain that through the Cosmos before too long as they go get the minion wave for the Phoenix in left.
Now Scary's pretty poked and doesn't have teleport this time, but with the Fire Giant regen and just a couple of sickle strikes on the wave, might be able to get up to healthy enough to be that initiator. And again, Venenu still no relics for him.
Mask up into the air one more time through the Cosmos. He's going to try and land on Venenu. Can't find him. The wall keeps him from retreating, but this is all the space they need. Phoenix on the left-hand side, down. That is all 3 Phoenixes for Trifecta. Venenu at half health, can't push along with PolarBearMike. Scream once more, but the wall stops him. Is able to find a clap of their own as eUnited, but Trifecta happy with their retreat.
Gotta be, after getting all 3 Phoenixes. Venenu just couldn't step up far enough, even finding that nice strife on the Mask as they finished off that left side Phoenix. The rest of the team just a little bit too far back in that situation. In the one pick that I really haven't been in love with so far this game, Finch, has been the Soul for PandaCat. It just has not been a big impact so far, and I really feel like the Soul is still viable at a pro level, but after the changes to her passive, removing some of that attack speed, the bonus attack speed that she gets, and as well as that bonus damage, I don't know that I'm in love with the ADC Soul build anymore. I mean, I've always been more partial to the attack, the ability damage soul build anyways. That's because I prefer to play her in mid, and that's just, I'm not going to hit auto attacks, but I might be able to hit giant AoE abilities. But I really feel like that's the better way to play her now that you know, no part of her abilities changed. The damage that those are going to do, it's only the auto attack. So to build still for the auto attacks, your build is just inherently weaker than it ever was before. Now, you know, if you go for ability power, at least your 2 ult combo is going to do the exact same thing that it was doing before.
And it looks like that NeiruMah kind of agrees with it. He's really worried about this magical damage. No dedicated defensive item has been purchased from him at all to worry about Scream or Benji. In fact, finishing off with a Pythagorean's piece that is going to add to go along with the Bulwark, his dedicated magical defense item.
Yeah, I don't mind it. 200 health and 10% CDR, pretty good for the Ymir. Plus, Ymir damage is very relevant throughout the entire game, even in the late game. Like this, I kind of like it. It also gives some extra sustain to Zapman and to Metyankey, who might be in need of that in the later game. Plus, not a lot of anti-heal. In fact, 0 anti-heal outside of the Pestilence from Benji, who really just bought it for the HP and the magical protection. Anyways, Scream of course has anti-heal in the ultimate, but you get that full sustain for everybody.
Okay, eUnited, we're looking to maybe see if they can catch anyone out of position here in the jungle. Trifecta stayed clumped up though. eUnited couldn't find anyone, and instead have to retreat back to their Titan. I imagine that they are not going to try and come out of this base at all and try and instead fight this Fire Giant, not with minion waves pouring in all 3 lanes. Fire Giant going to go the way of Trifecta here pretty easily. And Ryan, I mean, Trifecta right now have a chance to potentially take down the world champs in this set. I mean, it's been closer than ever here in North America in particular, and we're seeing it.
More than a chance at this point. It looks likely that they're going to take down the world champs. And as I said coming into this set, this is a really critical one for both sides. I mean, eUnited would have put themselves in 2nd place with a victory here, with CLG having a really tough matchup against Space Station next. I mean, you would have had a really good shot to make land if you're eUnited had you won this game. Now, they still are in it. They haven't lost quite yet. And Trifecta might be able to put themselves in that land conversation.
Scream is going to go in. His target, it's Zapman. Puts the last breath on him. Apple of Discord comes out and hits no one. Meanwhile, up in the air is Mask, and he's looking for Scream. He finds him. He's already down. Scary's going to tank up this Phoenix for a while they continue to try and chase down Venenu, who's been blown up as well. Double kill now for Mask. Benji gets plucked back into the damage, uses the execute just to try and get away, but it's not going to get him away far enough for the rest of the damage from Trifecta. He hasn't fallen yet, but Metyankey quickly rectifies it. Freeze lands. PolarBearMike is going to be next on the chopping block. Tail whip, and Mask finds a 3rd kill. 4 members of eUnited have fallen. Trifecta are in great position to take down the world champs.
PandaCat, the only one left. Scary, a little bit off the mark with the blink block, but it's not going to matter. Impressive play from Trifecta.
Wow.
eUnited just can't quite close out game 2, and then game 3 as well. Just don't have enough gas.
And I don't want to make it sound like I'm too surprised. This Trifecta squad, certainly we've been saying it is good. North America is incredibly close. Even Splice down at the bottom has taken games off these top teams. So this is what happens when we shrink that league down just a bit, man. I mean, it is so tight.
It's fun. It's fun to watch, isn't it? You don't know. Good luck in your season ticket voting, that kind of stuff. You're going to have a tough time a lot of these matchups because you never know who's going to end up playing better. That's just the way it feels. It's not like one team is just severely outclassing another in really any matchup in any league. It just, if you play well enough, you're going to win.
Who was the MVP, chat, in that game? Likely going to be somebody from Trifecta, as they were the ones who came out victorious. A lot of good choices. I mean, Mask continues to look excellent that set, so I mean, I would not fault you at all for picking him. Scary D also looked so good from that solo lane.
I really liked the way Metyankey played that Agni. He had a really good game. Zap looked good on the Jing Wei, was able to stay safe that time around. Again, everyone kind of has a potential there to be the MVP for Trifecta. That's how you have to beat teams like eUnited. You have to have a full 5-man effort.
And that's exactly what they had. In summary, we think everyone on Trifecta ended up looking good there, though, Ryan. But let's go ahead and get it back over to the desk. We'll let Tom and Taco go over that game and tell us who they think was the MVP.
Thanks a lot, boys. Great job with the cast and watching that one. I mean, shout-outs to Trifecta, bringing it to it and making it happen.
I hate to say we told you so, but I feel like we both felt like kind of in agreement there. Even after the picks and bans phase was done and we'd thrown it over to the casters, we just kept talking about it. And Trifecta, with the draft of a lifetime here, this is probably everything that they possibly could have wanted in one game. And when everything was on the line here as well, this was such an important set for Trifecta to clutch out, because now that they cinched it, it's a small room for breathing,
Yeah.
a little bit of time to come up for air now, and just keep that same sort of focus because they're going to need it if they want to be able to find themselves and work their way into being one of those top 2 seeded teams for LAN.
And then even talking away from the math for a moment, just reflecting back on that as Trifecta and going, we just beat up PBM. Check us out. Like, who are we? You know, so really fun stuff there. MVP for this one, Mask in the Jungle. Really fun stuff here coming out from this guy. And this is my unofficial. He's my set MVP. You know, I think Aggro made a good point about how the entire team stepped up, and that's how you do find victories against squads as talented as eUnited. But watching what Mask was able to do today, I mean, game 1, game 2, game 3, even the game that he lost in game number 1, I was impressed, and this is what needs to happen for Trifecta to be strong.
And patience is just so important here. Even then, you could see Mass waiting it out, kind of making Scream race against the clock. Is he going to drop now? Is he going to drop later? Should I try to dash away? My cooldowns still aren't up. It's that panic that the Reddit Tasker was able to introduce throughout this entire match 3, and it was very evident too that United were constantly having that thought in the back of their mind, where is this rat going to come up next? And every single time Mass surfaced, kills usually ended up following shortly after.
He set the pace of the game from beginning, middle to end, and then watching the supporting cast, if you can even call them that. I think this was an ensemble performance. Everybody from the hunter to the support. We've even got a fire giant seal here on the way. Fun stuff here in game number 3, just unstoppable. Who was that? Check this out.
Who else except for Neil?
Yeah.
Not the first time he's done it either. He's come up pretty tight when they needed it on multiple objectives now, so starting to be clear that you can't leave NeiruMah on these objectives up to chance because he's going to get the timing right in order to have those steals come through.
He's so much fun to watch, and again, you know, players at the top level kind of know him. They've all played ranked and even some customs and stuff. Neil's been around the block a little bit and now earning a victory with him and his friends. Trifecta over eUnited. Coming up next, we've got Space Station Gaming versus Counter Logic Gaming. We'll be right back with that match and more.